Sacrifice. What a delicious little fairy tale, isn't it? They dress it up in halos and hymns, paint it with holy colors, and whisper, give more, bleed more, bend more. That's what makes you good. And you fall for it. You cut pieces of yourself and hand them out like candy, smiling while they applaud your suffering. They call you noble. They call you selfless. They call you useful. But here's the punchline: when you're gone, when you've bled yourself dry, when you've sacrificed every ounce of your time, your energy, your dreams, do you know what they'll say next? Because the truth, my dear, is that sacrifice is not a gift, it's a scam. They don't love you for it. They love what they get from it. Think carefully. Who taught you to sacrifice? Parents, teachers, priests, bosses, all the smiling faces who benefited from your compliance. Sacrifice wasn't for you. It was for them. They sold you the sweet lie that if you give enough, someday someone will give back. How? But no one owes you. No one. And the longer you live waiting for repayment, the deeper you sink into misery. The joke is this: they want you to sacrifice because it makes you predictable, controllable, easy. A person who sacrifices is a person who won't rebel. And a person who won't rebel, that's not a person at all. That's a puppet. So here's the first truth: stop sacrificing. They owe you nothing, and every drop you spill for them is one less drop you'll ever have for yourself. Selflessness, the crown jewel of the Khan. They call it the highest virtue, the noblest path, the purest good. To be selfless, they say, is to be loved, to be admired, to be remembered as a saint. And you, sweet Navi creature, you believe them. You learn to erase yourself, to hide your hunger, to kill your desires. You learn that good people put everyone else first, that yourself is always last in line. But let me ask you, what happens to the one who is always last in line? Do they feast, or do they starve? Do they wear the crown, or do they hold the door for others who do? Selflessness, my dear, is not virtue. It is extinction dressed as morality. Think about the word itself: selfless. To be less of a self, to reduce, to erase, to become small, invisible, empty. What kind of philosophy is that? What kind of sick joke tells you that the way to live a meaningful life is to disappear from it? It's a clever little trick, isn't it? The world convinces you to be selfless, while the ones who demand it are anything but. Parents tell their children, be selfless. But do the parents sacrifice their own comfort to give up control? No. Teachers preach selflessness while demanding obedience. Employers preach teamwork, sacrifice, the greater good, while pocketing the profits. Preachers glorify martyrs, but who benefits from their martyrdom? The ones still alive, of course. Always the ones still alive. Do you see the pattern yet? Selflessness isn't for you. It's for them. It makes you pliable, predictable, safe. A selfless person will not rebel, will not demand, will not take. And the world loves people who don't take, because then there's more left for them. But let's poke the wound a little deeper. What happens when you try to live selflessly? You wake up tired. You stretch yourself thin. You smile when you want to scream. You give and give and give, hoping, praying that someone will notice, that someone will return the favor. But they don't. Why would they? You've taught them that your boundaries don't exist. You've trained them to believe you are a well with no bottom. And when you finally collapse, when you finally whisper, I can't do this anymore, do they rush to lift you? No. They shrug, they say, but you've always managed before. That's the cruelty of selflessness. The more you give, the less you're valued. People respect what costs them something. They value what has a price. But if you always give yourself for free, you become worthless. The selfless person is not worship. They're used until they're empty. And here's the delicious irony: the ones who scream the loudest about selflessness, they are the most selfish of all. The priest who glorifies martyrs doesn't want to die himself. The politician who praises sacrifice for the nation sends soldiers to the front lines while sipping wine in his palace. The friend who says, be there for me, always, never shows up when you need them. They want you selfless so they can stay selfish. That's the con. But society paints it so beautifully. They build monuments to the selfless, statues of martyrs, stories of heroes who gave everything. They tell you, look, immortality! They'll never be forgotten, but immortality is a lie. Statues crumble, names fade, stories are twisted. The selfless don't live forever. They die early, applauded, while others eat the feast. So why do you cling to selflessness? Because it feels safe. To demand for yourself feels dangerous. To take to want, to put yourself first, that feels selfish. And selfish is a dirty word, isn't it? They made it dirty on purpose. Because selfish people cannot be controlled. Selfish people draw boundaries. Selfish people say no. And no is the one word tyrants, bosses, parents, lovers, preachers cannot stand. Let me tell you the secret. Selfishness is not evil. It is survival. It is power. It is the air mask you put on the falling plane before saving anyone else. It is the root of every great invention, every revolution, every triumph. No one ever built empires by being selfless. No one ever became unforgettable by erasing themselves. Greatness is selfish, and selflessness is the grave. Do you want proof? Look at the figures you admire most. The artists, the leaders, the disruptors. Were they selfless? Did they give up their dreams for others? Or did they betray the demands of the crowd to carve their own path? History celebrates rebels, not martyrs. Creators, not servants. They may call them selfish, arrogant, even insane, but they never call them invisible. Selflessness promises you love, but it delivers resentment. Because deep down you despise yourself for vanishing. You despise them for never giving back, and resentment rots the heart. You become bitter, twisted, hollow, still pretending to smile while you die inside. So here's the truth you've been avoiding. Selflessness is not a virtue. It is a leash. It is a tool designed to drain you until there's nothing left. And once you see that, once you stop worshiping this false virtue, you will terrify them. Because a person who refuses to be selfless cannot be controlled. A person who chooses themselves cannot be used. A person who says, I come first, is a storm in a world that feeds on obedience. Stop being selfless, start being whole. They'll call you selfish, arrogant, cruel. Let them. Better cruel and free than noble and chained. Because in the end, the world doesn't remember the selfless ones who quietly gave themselves away. It remembers the selfish ones who carved their names into stone. Family. Ah, the sacred cow, the golden cage, the leash dressed in lullabies and bedtime stories. They tell you blood is thicker than water, that family is forever, that your highest duty is sacrifice for the people who share your last name. They guilt you with phrases like, after all we've done for you, and you swallow it whole. You carry the weight of their expectations on your back like a mule, all while whispering to yourself, this is love. But is it love? Or is it leverage? Family loyalty is the first con you ever learn. From the moment you take your first breath, they brand you with a surname, a heritage, a destiny you never chose. You're told who you are before you can even speak. You're one of us, you owe us, and you innocent, pliable, desperate to belong, you believe it. You grow up thinking duty is love, sacrifice is respect, obedience is virtue. But let's strip the mask off, shall we? Family uses guilt like currency. Parents remind you of the food, the roof, the diapers, as though survival itself was a debt you must now repay forever. Siblings demand loyalty, even when they sabotage you. Cousins, uncles, distant relatives crawl out of the shadows when you succeed, claiming pieces of your pie because we're family. Blood becomes a leash, unquestionable, choking. Here's the cruel truth: blood is not a contract. Blood is chemistry, cells, biology, nothing more. It does not bind your soul, your ambition, your life. The only reason family loyalty feels sacred is because they drilled it into you before you had the power to resist. They made disobedience sound like sin, betrayal, monstrosity. They convinced you that walking away from them is walking away from humanity itself. But think carefully. How many lives have been wasted in the name of family duty? Dreams abandoned to care for ungrateful parents, talents buried under traditions, future strangled because that's not what our family does. You stay small, not because you are weak, but because family whispers, don't outgrow us, don't outshine us, don't leave us behind. And the irony, the moment you fail to serve their needs, the moment you say no, the family you bled for will call you selfish. They'll brand you ungrateful, disloyal, cold. They will crucify you with words, and you, loyal servant, will feel guilty for daring to breathe on your own. That's the brilliance of the con. You don't need chains when guilt does the job better. But what is family, truly? Strip away the slogans, the guilt, the hymns, and family is nothing more than a group of individuals bound by accident of birth. Some may love you, yes. Some may support you, yes. But love is not measured in blood. Support is not guaranteed by DNA, and debt is not inherited by the accident of being born. Loyalty to family for its own sake is slavery with a pretty name. It keeps you tied to people who may not deserve you. It chains your destiny to their failures, their fears, their limitations. It demands that you sacrifice your wings so they can feel taller standing on your back. But what happens when you betray the family leash? When you say, no, I owe you nothing, not my life, not my dreams, not my freedom. Oh, the horror. They'll scream, they'll rage, they'll call you heartless, they'll curse you in living rooms, spit your name in whispers at reunions. Good, let them. Because their anger is not proof of your cruelty. It's proof of their dependence. They need your sacrifice to maintain their little kingdom. And when you refuse, their castle collapses. Do you want to terrify your family? Outgrow them. Betray the limits they placed on you. Build a life so large, so unapologetic, that they can no longer guilt you into kneeling. They'll resent you, oh yes, but they'll respect you too, even if they choke on the word. Because deep down, even family bows to strength. Here's the secret they'll never tell you: you don't owe your family. Not for food, not for shelter, not for life itself. You never asked to be born. That was their choice, not your debt. You owe them nothing but what they've truly earned. Respect if they gave love, gratitude if they gave support, and if they gave only chains, then you owe them silence. This is the third betrayal you must embrace: betray the leash of blood. Betray the guilt that paints sacrifice as love. Betray the illusion that family loyalty is sacred. Because the truth is simple: family can be love, yes, but family can also be poison, and loyalty to poison is suicide. So cut the leash, let them rage, let them curse. Better to be hated for your freedom than loved for your chains. Because in the end, family doesn't define you. You define you, and the moment you break free, you'll discover something beautiful. Family isn't the people you share blood with. Family is the people who choose you, the ones who lift you without demanding your sacrifice, the ones who see your wings and cheer when you fly. Blood may bind your body, but it never has to bind your soul. Ah, friends, the chosen family, the sacred circle, the ones you pick instead of inherit. Surely here in friendship, sacrifice makes sense. Surely here giving is noble. Surely here loyalty means love. How? What a joke. Friends, oh, they feed on you just the same. They just smile while they do it. They call it bonding. They call it support. They call it ride or die. But underneath the slogans and selfies, friendship is often nothing more than a feeding ground. They devour your time, your energy, your patience, your resources, and they don't even know they're doing it because you trained them to. You taught them your sacrifice was free. Think of it. How many times have you bent yourself to be the good friend, staying up late listening to their endless problems while yours rot in silence, lending money you couldn't afford, canceling your plans to rescue them from their drama, driving across town at midnight, bleeding your gas tank, your sanity, your peace, all so they'd say, "You're such a good friend." And oh, that phrase feels warm, doesn't it? Until the warmth fades and you realize you've been drained dry, while they're already off to their next crisis. That's the dirty secret. Most friendships are transactional. They're built on what you can give, what you can provide, how much you can sacrifice. You're valuable not because of who you are, but because of what you supply. Emotional labor, financial support, constant availability. And the moment you stop supplying, the friendship wilts. But here's the kicker: when you finally need them, when you finally ask for their sacrifice, what happens? Silence, excuses, ghosting. Suddenly they're busy, tired, broke, unavailable. Suddenly your need is an inconvenience, because loyalty and friendship is rarely balanced. The giver keeps giving, the taker keeps taking, and the giver, the loyal fool, thinks this is love. It's not love, it's consumption, and society feeds the myth. A good friend is always there. Always there. What are you? A statue, a butler, a dog waiting by the door. A human being cannot be always there. To demand, that is to demand slavery, not friendship. But they dress it up in cute phrases and greeting cards so you swallow it whole. Here's the cruelty: your friends don't want you happy. Not really, they want you useful. Happiness makes you independent. Happiness makes you less available. Happiness makes you selfish, and selfishness, as we've seen, terrifies the world. So they keep you loyal by dangling the fear of abandonment. If you're not here for me, are you even my friend? And you give in, because the thought of being called a bad friend stabs deeper than the cost of your own sacrifice. You'd rather drown quietly than let someone else accuse you of letting go. But let's shine a little light on the shadows. True friendship, the rare kind, is not built on sacrifice. It's built on reciprocity, balance, respect. The rare friend doesn't feed on you. They feed with you. They don't demand your sacrifice. They honor your boundaries. But such friendships are rare gems. Most are parasites in pretty packaging. So why do you keep sacrificing for them? Because friendship is an illusion of safety. You think being surrounded makes you strong. You think being loyal keeps you loved. But love built on sacrifice isn't love, it's dependency. And dependency always ends in resentment. Ask yourself, if you stopped giving, stopped bending, stopped being the always there friend, how many would remain? How many would stand by you, not because of what you give, but because of who you are? The answer will be far fewer than you think. And that truth hurts, doesn't it? But here's the twist: once you embrace it, once you stop feeding the feeders, you become dangerous. You stop being predictable. You stop being the safe little well they can drink from. You become the storm. The friend who refuses to sacrifice becomes the friend who commands respect. They may call you selfish. They may whisper, complain, drift away. Good, let them. Because the ones who remain, those are the rare ones who deserve you. Do you want to terrify your so-called friends? Tell them no. Tell them you won't cancel your life to play nurse to their drama. Tell them your money, your time, your energy belong to you first. Watch their faces twist, shock, anger, betrayal. That's when you'll know the truth. Because a true friend won't flinch at your boundaries. A parasite will. This is the fourth betrayal you must embrace. Betray the myth of friendship sacrifice. Betray the leash of being always there. Betray the illusion that love is measured by how much you bleed. Because in the end, friendship, like family, like love, like every chain they hand you, should never demand your self-destruction. The world doesn't remember the ones who sacrificed for their friends. The world remembers the ones who refused to be drained, who chose themselves, and in doing so became too strong to be ignored. So stop feeding them. Let them starve. The ones who love you will stay. The ones who used you will leave. And either way you win. Ah, the job, the 9-to-5 altar, the gleaming skyscraper cathedral, the buzzing cubicle hive. And you, the little worker bee, the faithful cog buzzing and buzzing until your wings fall off. They told you sacrifice at work is noble. They told you loyalty to your company will pay off. They told you overtime obedience and going the extra mile will make you indispensable. Ha, what a delicious lie. The job is the greatest scam of sacrifice. They dress it in professional words: dedication, commitment, work ethic. But peel back the mask and it's always the same demand. Give us more of you. More hours, more energy, more life, and don't you dare expect it back. Think about it. You work late. You miss birthdays, funerals, your children's childhoods. You drink coffee like poison. You burn your health for deadlines that don't matter. And for what? A paycheck that barely covers survival. A pat on the back, a plastic plaque, maybe a pizza party. They sell you devotion, and you buy it with your bones. The cruelest joke. They tell you the company is a family. Oh, how sweet. We're not just co-workers. We're family here. Do you know what that means? It means guilt. It means you'll sacrifice extra because you're not just an employee, you're part of the family. But the moment profits dip, the moment shareholders frown, this family will toss you into the street with a cardboard box of your belongings. Because you were never family. You were furniture. You see, companies don't want workers, they want martyrs. They want you to bleed happily. They reward the ones who stay late, who answer emails at midnight, who sacrifice their personal lives for the greater good. And the others, those who dare to say no, those who draw lines, those who protect themselves, they're branded lazy, uncommitted, selfish. But funny thing, isn't it? Those selfish ones, they're the ones who survive. They're the ones who rise, because they never fell for the scam. Look around. The loyal employees, the ones who gave decades. Where are they now? Retired with gold watches? No. Replaced by software. Laid off in restructures. Their names forgotten before the ink dried on the severance check. Their reward for sacrifice, irrelevance. And yet, you keep playing the game. You sacrifice, thinking sacrifice is a ladder. But sacrifice at work isn't a ladder, it's glue. It sticks you in place while others climb. The bold ones, the ruthless ones, the ones who refuse to sacrifice. They take risks, they jump companies, they negotiate, and you stay loyal, you sacrifice, and they pass you by. Here's the secret the bosses never tell you: sacrifice doesn't make you valuable. It makes you replaceable. Because the more you give without demand, the more they know they can take. You become predictable, compliant, invisible. You're not a rising star, you're a reliable mule, and no one crowns the mule. And oh, the irony. You sacrifice for your job to earn money for your family, for your future, for your life. But the job consumes the very life you're trying to fund. What good is the paycheck if you're too broken to spend it? What good is security if you sacrificed your soul to get it? Do you want to terrify your employer? Stop sacrificing. Draw boundaries, leave at 5, say no to unpaid overtime. Refuse to answer emails after hours. They'll frown, they'll threaten. They'll mutter about team players. But watch closely. Your refusal makes you more powerful, not less. Because they realize you can't be guilted, can't be manipulated, can't be drained. Sacrifice makes you disposable. Boundaries make you dangerous. This is the 5th betrayal you must embrace. Betray the corporate scam. Betray the false family. Betray the illusion that loyalty to your job will save you. It won't. The job is not your savior, it's your vampire, and you've been feeding it with your life. So walk away from the altar. Let them find another sacrifice. Because your life is too short, too sharp, too precious to be burned in fluorescent lights for a company that won't remember your name. Stop sacrificing for your job. They owe you nothing. And the moment you believe that, you'll finally be free. Ah, love. The grand illusion. The rose-colored prison. The story they've been selling you since the cradle. That true love means sacrifice. Give everything for your partner. Die for them. Suffer for them. Lose yourself for them. They call it romance. I call it hostage negotiation. From the first fairy tales, the script is clear. The prince slays the dragon, bleeds on the battlefield, risks it all for the maiden. The maiden abandons her life, her family, her very name to serve the prince. Sacrifice, 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 always dressed in lace, always sung with violins. And you, poor dreamer, you believed it. You thought the measure of love was how much you could bleed for it. But tell me, what is love if it demands your death? What is devotion if it requires the execution of your dreams? Why should the price of love be yourself? Here's the trick: love is supposed to be a union, but sacrifice makes it a transaction. One partner gives, the other takes. One partner bends, the other stands tall. And the one who gives, they wither quietly, smiling all the while, until they're nothing but a shadow whispering, "I did it for love." Think of it. How many lovers give up their ambitions to support their partners? How many swallow their desires to keep the peace? How many stay in toxic embraces because loyalty is confused with love? You don't call it slavery because the chains are wrapped in roses, but it is slavery all the same, and society applauds it. She gave up everything for him, has sacrificed his future for her. They cheer these tragedies like victories. They tell you love is proof of your worth only if it costs you your life. But here's the truth: if love demands your sacrifice, it isn't love, it's consumption. The cruelest joke. The one who sacrifices is rarely rewarded. You think they'll love you more for your devotion, but no. They grow comfortable, entitled. They see your sacrifice not as a gift, but as the baseline. And the moment you stop giving, the moment you dare to take, they call you selfish. They say you've changed. They say you don't love them anymore. But ask yourself, did they ever love you? Or did they love the way you bled for them? Sacrificing for love kills not only your dreams, but the love itself. Resentment grows in silence. You smile while you ache, you agree while you rot, and inside, piece by piece, the bitterness builds until you no longer recognize the face in the mirror. Love does not thrive on sacrifice. Love thrives on freedom, choice, respect. And respect dies the moment sacrifice becomes expectation. Do you know why they want you to sacrifice for love? Because it makes you easier to control. A partner who sacrifices will not leave. A partner who sacrifices will not demand. A partner who sacrifices will endure betrayal, neglect, cruelty, because they've been told that suffering is proof of love. And oh, how the world loves obedient little lovers. But betrayal terrifies them. When you betray the myth of sacrifice, when you say, no, my life matters too. No, my dreams come first. No, I will not bleed for you. Suddenly the balance shifts. They call you selfish, cold, heartless. Good. Because the moment you stop sacrificing, you become free. Free to love without chains. Free to walk away when love becomes poison. Free to demand love that feeds you instead of drains you. And here's the secret. The strongest love is never built on sacrifice. It's built on choice. On two whole people choosing each other, not two broken halves bleeding for one another. Love without sacrifice is not weaker. It's stronger, sharper, freer. It's terrifying because it can't be controlled. Do you want to terrify your lover? Stop sacrificing. Put yourself first. Draw the line. Say, I love you, but I will not kill myself for you. The weak ones will flee. The parasites will curse you. But the true ones, the rare ones, will stay. They will rise to meet you, not drag you down. This is the sixth betrayal you must embrace. Betray the myth of romantic sacrifice. Betray the notion that love requires death. Betray the chains wrapped in roses. Because love should not demand your destruction. And if it does, it is not love. Stop sacrificing for love, because when you bleed for it, love doesn't grow. Only the grave does. Society, the grandest stage of them all, the faceless crowd, the roaring mob, the ever-hungry beast that demands and demands and demands, while giving you nothing but rules, shame, and empty applause. They tell you sacrifice for society is noble. They tell you to put the greater good above yourself. They tell you the individual is small, but the collective is holy. What a performance! What a scam! You're told to pay your dues, follow the rules, keep the traditions, honor the flag, bow to the gods, respect the elders, obey the leaders. You're told that a good citizen is one who sacrifices, work hard, pay taxes, fight wars, bear children, carry the weight of culture on your back, and you smile and complain, thinking that obedience makes you righteous. But let me ask you, what has society ever given you in return? Does society love you? Does society protect you? Or does it chew you up, spit you out, and replace you without a second thought? Look at history. How many millions sacrificed for their nations, their religions, their causes, only to be forgotten the moment their usefulness expired? Soldiers dying nameless in trenches, workers breaking their backs for empires that collapsed anyway. Citizens devoting their lives to systems that crumbled into dust. Society doesn't remember the loyal ones. Society remembers the rebels, the betrayers, the ones who dared to say, no, I owe you nothing. Here's the trick: society glorifies sacrifice because it makes you easy to control. A man who sacrifices for society will never question the rules. A woman who sacrifices for society will never put herself first. Sacrifice keeps the machine running. And the machine doesn't care how many bodies it grinds down to keep spinning. They'll tell you to die for your country. But who makes that call? Leaders sitting safely behind desks. They'll tell you to give everything for your religion. But who benefits? Priests, prophets, preachers, men fattened by your sacrifice. They'll tell you to sacrifice for your community. But when you collapse, when you can't give anymore, where is this community? Smiling over your grave, already replacing you. It's all theater. They glorify martyrs because martyrs can't rebel. They build statues to the fallen because the fallen can't demand justice. And you staring at those statues are meant to think, yes, sacrifice is glorious, but it isn't glorious. It's convenient for them. Do you know what terrifies society? The one who refuses. The one who says, I don't owe the flag. I don't owe the church. I don't owe the mob. They'll call you selfish, unpatriotic, a heretic, a traitor. And why? Because once you refuse, the whole machine trembles. Society doesn't fear the obedient, it fears the unpredictable. Sacrifice for society kills your individuality. It erases your voice. It turns you into a number, a cog, a nameless body in the crowd. They'll chant, we're all in this together. But are we? Or are you bleeding while others feast? Are you giving while others take? Are you silenced while others shout? Society is a parasite. It doesn't want your happiness. It wants your usefulness. It doesn't care if you thrive. It cares if you conform. And conformity is nothing more than slow death with applause. But here's the truth, you don't owe society anything. You never asked to be born into its rules, its debts, its expectations. You were dropped into its game without your consent, and now they want you to sacrifice your life to keep playing. No, the only debt you owe is to yourself. To live, to breathe, to rise. This is the seventh betrayal you must embrace. Betray society's demands. Betray the flag, the slogan, the anthem, the dogma. Betray the crowd that screams for your obedience. Because society will never repay you for your sacrifice, but it will fear you when you stop. Do you want to terrify the world? Step off its stage. Stop bowing to its rules. Stop sacrificing for its illusions. Build your own script, your own story, your own freedom. Let them call you traitor. Let them call you selfish. Let them call you mad, because in the end, society doesn't remember the obedient one. It remembers the rebels who tore the mask off and laughed in its face. Stop sacrificing for society. They owe you nothing, and you owe yourself everything. Now we arrive at the sweetest delusion of them all. The fantasy that keeps the loyal bleeding, the obedient bowing, the selfless smiling through their own decay. It's not just sacrifice they sell you. It's the illusion of repayment, the belief that if you give enough someday, someone will give back. They'll remember me. They'll return the favor. They owe me. What a beautiful little lie. You sacrifice your time, your money, your energy, your very life, and all the while, you cling to the idea that your sacrifice is a kind of investment, that it accrues interest in some invisible moral bank account, that when you finally need it, when you finally collapse, the debt will be repaid. But here's the truth, there is no bank, there is no account. No one is keeping score but you. You think the world owes you because you gave. But the world doesn't deal in fairness, it deals in appetite. People don't remember what you sacrificed for them, they remember how much more they can take. Your sacrifice doesn't create debt, it creates entitlement. The more you give, the more they believe they're owed. Not the other way around. Think about it. You stayed late at work, thinking the boss would notice. He didn't. He just gave you more work. You sacrificed for friends, expecting gratitude. They thanked you once, then expected you to do it again. You bled for your partner, thinking it would make them love you more. It didn't. It only taught them that your blood was free. And when you finally say enough, you owe me, what do? They laugh, they shrug, they look at you like you're insane. Because in their eyes, they owe you nothing. Why would they? You chose to sacrifice, you volunteered your pain, and volunteers don't get refunds. That's the sting, isn't it? The realization that sacrifice doesn't bind anyone but you. You think it makes them indebted, it makes you disposable. You think they'll repay. They won't. And when they don't, the bitterness curdles inside you like poison. You rot in silence, whispering, after all I've done for them. But here's the real joke. You were never noble. You were bargaining. You weren't giving freely, you were gambling. You bet that your sacrifice would buy you love, respect, repayment. And when the bet fails, you call it betrayal. But it wasn't betrayal. It was delusion. Do you know who never falls for this trick? The ones who don't expect repayment. The ones who understand the truth. No one owes you anything. Not your family, not your friend, not your job, not your lover, not society. The moment you accept that, you stop bleeding for applause. You stop gambling your life on debts that will never be paid. And oh, how terrifying you become. Because once you accept that no one owes you, you stop demanding, you stop waiting, you start taking, you start building, you start living for yourself, and suddenly, you're unpredictable, you're free. The debt illusion is the chain they use to keep you docile. As long as you believe, they'll owe me back, you'll keep sacrificing, you'll keep smiling through your own pain, waiting for a repayment that will never come. Break the illusion. And you break the chain. So here's the eighth betrayal you must embrace. Betray the debt illusion. Betray the fantasy that sacrifice earns you credit. Betray the childish hope that someone will swoop in and return the favor, because they won't. And that's not cruelty, it's reality. Stop keeping score. Stop waiting for repayment. Stop poisoning yourself with resentment. Accept the truth no one owes you. And once you do, once you stop sacrificing in the name of imaginary debts, you'll find a strange, sharp kind of peace. Because then, finally, you'll owe nothing. And in that emptiness, in that freedom, you'll discover the only debt that ever mattered, the one you owe yourself. Aha, now we come to the forbidden word, the word they trained you never to say, the word they demonized, ridiculed, punished out of you since childhood. 2 little letters, 1 sharp blade. No. That's it. That's the whole revolution, the whole weapon, the whole storm, and oh, how it terrifies them. Think back. When was the first time you said no? As a child, perhaps, you refused to share, you refused to obey. You stamped your foot, you claimed your will. And what happened? They scolded you. They shamed you. They told you good boys and girls don't say no. They trained you to think no is selfish, rude, ungrateful. They replaced your sharp edge with a dull smile. They turned your weapon to silence. And you carried that lesson. You grew up saying yes, yes, yes. To parents, to teachers, to bosses, to lovers, to friends, to society. You learned that sacrifice earns applause and refusal earns punishment. So you said yes until your spine bent, until your will rotted, until you forgot what no even tasted like. But here's the secret. No is the most powerful word in existence. No is the refusal to be consumed. No is the end of the scam. No is the wall they cannot climb, the lock they cannot pick, the bullet they cannot dodge. One well-placed no can stop the machine cold. Say no to family and watch the guilt tremble. Say no to friends and watch the parasites scatter. Say no to bosses and watch them choke on their own entitlement. Say no to lovers and watch whether they truly love you or just love using you. No is the truth serum. It reveals everything. And oh, how they'll hate it. They'll call you selfish, cold, cruel, heartless. Perfect, that's how you know it's working. Because those words aren't insults. They're confessions. They're confessing that your sacrifice was their leash. They're confessing that your compliance was their control. They're confessing that without your yes, they are powerless. Refusal is rebellion. Refusal is liberation. Refusal is how you reclaim yourself. But you, you're still afraid, aren't you? Afraid they'll leave. Afraid they'll stop loving you. Afraid you'll be alone. Here's the punchline: if your yes was the only thing keeping them, they were never yours to begin with. Love that depends on your sacrifice isn't love, it's hunger. And hunger never stops. Do you want to terrify the world? Become fluent in no. Say it without guilt, without apology, without explanation. Say it with a smile, with a laugh, with a tilt of the head. Say it as casually as they once demanded your blood. Because when you do, you flip the script, they become the beggars, and you become the storm. Understand this: yes is cheap, yes is abundant, yes is predictable. Everyone says yes because everyone's afraid. But no is rare, no is precious, no is unforgettable. The one who can say no holds power over the one who cannot. This is the 9th betrayal you must embrace. Betray the addiction to yes. Betray the fear of refusal. Betray the myth that saying no makes you bad. Because no does not make you bad. No makes you free. And once you master it, once you learn the art of refusal, you will never be prey again. And now the curtain falls, the lights dim, the crowd hushes. It's time for the final act. You've sat through the illusions, the cons, the chains, sacrifice for family, sacrifice for friends, sacrifice for jobs, for love, for society. You've seen the debt illusion. You've tasted the power of refusal. And now there is only one question left. Will you keep bleeding for them, or will you finally live for you? They told you sacrifice makes you good, that it makes you noble, that it makes you loved. But what did sacrifice really make you? Tired, bitter, invisible. You spent years on the altar, carving yourself up piece by piece, waiting for applause. And when you finally looked up, what did you see? A crowd that had already turned away. That's the punchline. Sacrifice doesn't make them love you. It makes them use you. It doesn't make them respect you. It makes them expect you. It doesn't make them remember you. It makes them forget you faster. So here's your chance, right here, right now, to betray the whole rotten script. What happens if you stop sacrificing? At first, chaos. They'll scream, they'll rage. They'll call you selfish, cold, cruel. They'll curse you in whispers, condemn you in public. but beneath the fury lies fear. Because the moment you stop sacrificing, you become unpredictable, you become uncontrollable, you become free. Imagine it, no more bending to family guilt. No more friends draining you dry, no more bosses owning your nights, no more lovers chaining you with roses, no more society carving rules into your skin, no more debts, no more yeses, no more invisible chains. Just you, sharp, whole, unapologetic. They'll say, but if everyone lived like that, the world would collapse. Exactly, their world would collapse. The world built on your sacrifice, your silence, your obedience. Let it burn from the ashes, build your own. Here's the secret they don't want you to know. You were never born to be prey. You were never meant to be a sacrifice. You were born to own yourself, to feed yourself, to choose yourself. And the moment you do, the moment you step off their altar and walk into your own fire, you will terrify them. Because nothing scares the world more than someone who owes it nothing. This is the 10th and final betrayal. Betray sacrifice itself. Betray the altar, betray the script. Betray every smiling lie that told you your worth was measured in how much you bleed for others. Because your worth is not in your sacrifice, it is in your survival, in your strength, in your refusal. So here's my final whisper, my final laugh, my final gift. Stop sacrificing. Stop waiting, stop bleeding. They owe you nothing. You owe them nothing. The only one left on the stage, the only one who ever mattered is you. So own it. Own your life. Own your hunger. Own your freedom. And when the curtain falls, don't bow to their applause. Don't thank them for watching. Just smile. Just laugh. Just walk off the stage and let them choke on the silence you leave behind. Because you're done performing. And from this moment on, you are finally free.